You're at your desk at work, your heart is racing, and you're feeling really overwhelmed with how much you need to get done. But there's something deeper going on. You can't stop feeling like you're missing something. Anxiety is through the roof, and you're worrying about every little thing, and you can't stop the worry. You're feeling racy and shaky, and you're asking yourself questions like, can I actually do this job? Will I ever feel successful at reaching my goals? Am I capable? Do I have what it takes? The list of questions goes on and on and on. This is a pretty common example of a high achieving, ambitious woman in the workplace that's feeling high levels of anxiety and stress. Are you going through something like this? Are you looking for some advice to help you to relieve anxiety, especially at work? In this video, I'm going to share with you the best anxiety relief advice that I wish I could have received years ago when I was going through the same thing. And before we get into that, I want to share the good news with you. It is absolutely possible to change how you're feeling and how you're thinking. You just need to know how to do that, and I'm going to teach you in this video today. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for being here. My name's Amy Webb, and I help ambitious women to transform anxiety and overcome self-doubt, and I do that through an online program. If you would like regular free content that will help you to move through anxiety, shift uncomfortable emotion, and get rid of that negative self-talk, then I recommend subscribing to this channel now and hitting the bell to get notified of my new videos as they get released every Thursday. After working with women for the last 5 years to combat and work through anxiety and uncomfortable emotion, I have come up with 4 of the key things I think you need to know so that you can start to work through what you're feeling in a really powerful and potent way. And so much of what I'm about to share with you is really about shifting your mindset and your belief system around emotion, anxiety, and mental health. And this is because we've been conditioned in so many ways to think that our emotion is a weakness. And it's really important that we address the mental mindset side of this so that you can really have a good opportunity to start to shift your emotion. It doesn't take too many Google searches on mental health and anxiety to realize that the world approaches it in a pretty uninspiring way. Instead of coping, dealing with, and managing anxiety, I want to teach you how to shift, transform, and find new possibilities through anxiety. Let's look at some of the facts. Suicide rates are increasing globally. It can take sometimes 6 to 12 months before you can get an appointment with a clinical psychologist or a therapist. Sometimes medications don't work. Workplace productivity and morale is pretty low. The list goes on. And no wonder you're confused about what to do with your mental health and your anxiety. There's also such a stigma when it comes to mental health and anxiety, and especially for ambitious women that generally are pretty independent and really good at getting things done logically. It can be a real shock when you feel out of control emotionally and when anxiety takes over. I know personally how that feels, and I also know how to work through it, and that's the good news I want to share with you today. The first thing I want you to know is that it is so important that right now, in this moment, you make a decision to prioritize you. And here's why. When we continue to deprioritize our emotional and mental needs and suppress our emotions because we have that big to-do list at work, or you have that colleague that needs you, or your boss is really wanting you to meet that deadline. When we continuously deny our emotional needs and suppress them and allow other people's agendas to be more important than ours, we stay stuck in this pattern of disconnection. And that creates more and more survival stress in your system. And so if your body doesn't feel safe, if you don't feel safe to actually let go emotionally because you have too many things going on outside in the real world, it can be really, really hard to make any change. And I know this from personal experience. I used to feel like there was never enough time. I had so many things on my list. I never made time for myself. Self-care was like not a thing. I would deprioritize my emotional needs all the time. And it wasn't until I experienced burnout and depression that I really started to make some changes. What I learned when I reached burnout and depression was that I didn't have a choice. I needed to prioritize myself. It was a matter of survival. And what I mean by that is that when you're in high levels of anxiety and stress, your nervous system is in what's called survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you are attached to survival-based emotions like fear, shame, and guilt. When you're in that place, it's like you're looking at life through a lens that's really limited. You can only access this really small view through your brain. And from that place, everything kind of looks dull. It's very difficult to see new possibilities. It's very difficult to see positive steps you could take. It's very difficult to see through the trees because you're simply trying to survive. And so when you're in that mode of survival, it can be even more difficult to prioritize your own needs. But when it comes down to absolute rock bottom moments and burnout, you won't have a choice. You will have to prioritize your needs. So what I'm suggesting right now is that if you learn to prioritize yourself bit by bit now, before you reach that point, you will experience the cumulative effects of higher and higher and higher states of well-being as a result. You will start to feel better the more you prioritize your needs. You will start to feel more connected the more you prioritize your needs. You will start to feel more successful the more you prioritize your needs. There is so much upside in putting yourself first and letting go of other people's ideas about what you should do or what's expected of you. When you kind of let that go and put yourself first, knowing that you need to because it's a matter of survival, everything starts to change. And there's no weakness in that, like it's so common that we hold ourselves back from feeling good because we feel weak, because you aren't sure if it's okay to feel the emotions you're feeling. I promise you it's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's so normal and natural to feel what you're feeling. And so many people around you, whether they're saying so or not, are feeling the same way. So the more you prioritize your emotional needs, the better you are going to start to feel. It's simply a matter of shifting your mindset around putting yourself first. If this is resonating and you're liking what I'm sharing, leave me a comment below, let me know, ask me a question. I would love to build this community with you and answer any questions that you have. Number 2, connect with your body and stop trying to think your way through this. What I find with the women I work with ambitious, high-achieving women that are experiencing anxiety, is that the overthinking and the negative self-talk creates the anxiety, and the anxiety physiologically creates more of the negative self-talk. These two things kind of work off each other. But what I've found to be the most impactful, most potent, most powerful way to shift anxiety is by connecting with your physical sensations in your body. And for high-achieving women that are really strong analytically and logically, like I was, it can be really difficult to trust in your body. And here's why. Remember how I spoke about the nervous system stress and survival mode? Here's where it's relevant. The reason why it's difficult to feel your physical sensations and you would rather run away from them is because your body is signaling to you that it's not feeling very safe. And it's not feeling safe because these feelings probably feel quite foreign. Your feeling body is waking up and it's shaking up your quite strong analytical mind. You could think of yourself as having two sides. One is the emotional, instinctual, intuitive part of you, and the other is your analytical, logical, powerful thinking part of you. So now that your body has peaked in sensation and you're experiencing a lot of feeling in your body, your feeling body is starting to wake up and it's trying to get your attention. And because you haven't developed a sense of safety inside yourself with that, you're wanting to deflect and push it away. But until you meet your emotions, nothing's going to change. So what we need to do is create a safety inside the body so that you can trust yourself to be with what it is that you're feeling. The good news that I share with my clients all the time is that if you can be really strong analytically and you can use your thought and the power of your thinking mind to create things in your life, then you can bring a strength into your emotional self. It's simply about prioritizing that part of you and getting curious about how your emotions and your physical feelings in your body are speaking to you. And so the way that we can start to create and cultivate more safety in the body is by getting curious about what the body is trying to tell you. A fun way to do this could be to grab a journal or a piece of paper and write down at the top, if my body could speak, what would she say? and just see what arises. You might notice particular feelings coming up in your body. You might even hear words. There might be particular ways that your body will show you. Perhaps as soon as you write that down, you feel your heart beating. So you could write down, my heart is beating. Perhaps you feel a tightness in your chest. You could write, my chest is tight. Allow yourself to just be curious about what your body is trying to say. There's so much wisdom in there. And if you give yourself just enough presence to listen, you'll get a little bit clearer about what's going on. Once you've started to build this safety within your body and you've cultivated and created a safe environment within yourself to feel into those physical sensations in your body, and you're becoming more connected to your body, the next step is to really allow yourself to release emotionally. There's a fantastic book recommendation I'd love to give you from Emily and Amelia Nagoski, and it's called Burnout, The Secret to Solving the Stress Cycle. Emily and Amelia speak to the importance of releasing emotion from your body and having ways to have an outlet to release and complete the cycle of stress in your system. So if you think about the working day, there could be many moments through your day where things happen in work meetings. Perhaps something happens that feels inappropriate and you feel anger or you feel frustration. Usually we don't have the space to really meet those emotions as they arise. And so we push them down until the end of the day and we wait until we get home, and perhaps you might deal with them then, perhaps not. Maybe you'll watch some TV, maybe you'll have a glass of wine, maybe you'll forget what happened earlier, and those emotions stay buried deep inside. When we continue to suppress our emotions and we don't meet them, and we do this for days and days that become weeks and weeks, that become months and months, we deny ourselves our emotional release. And when we don't allow emotions to release in our body, we stay in that cycle of stress, which keeps us in survival mode. And the really ironic thing about this is that we're terrified as a human race to really just feel our emotions, because it's been conditioned and ingrained within us to believe that emotions are a weakness. When there's so much research out there and beautiful teachers like Brené Brown who talk a lot about vulnerability and the power of vulnerability. And I have seen firsthand in our beautiful community of women that are doing this amazing work how incredibly important it is to create a space where vulnerability is okay. It's actually part of the secret sauce to healing and overcoming anxiety. Perhaps right now you don't feel like vulnerability is something you'd like to approach. Maybe it feels really out of your comfort zone. But I can promise you that deeper down, deep inside, what you're really wanting is to allow your authentic expression to come out. You want to be able to have your inside self be the same as your outside self. You don't want to mask who you are and push down your emotions. None of us really do. We just think that we should. We think that we should do that, and we're afraid of sharing our emotions. But when you take the lid off and you start being yourself and you express who you are and you express how you feel, the world responds in a really beautiful way. It's just fear that gets in the way and blocks us from that truth. So my invitation to you today is to let yourself to become a little bit more vulnerable. Know that it's safe to let your emotions out. And of course you want to do this in a safe environment with people that you love, or perhaps in your own space. This is where support is really key. If you don't feel like you can allow yourself to let go, that's why you would reach out to someone like me and we can support you with that. But know that it's okay. Know that it's so acceptable to let yourself have emotion. We all have them. It's just that not everybody is willing to let that side of themselves be seen. You could be the person that decides that it's okay, and that will mean that you will make it okay for others as well. What I learned when I started to allow myself to express more of my emotion is that support was really important. Not so that I could depend on somebody else or on a therapist or on someone to kind of do the work for me. I was more interested in having the support to know how to do the work myself. And that's what I want for you as well as a high achieving, ambitious woman. I know that you want to be able to do this yourself, and you will be able to, but not if you deny yourself the support to help you to know what path to take. And the fourth piece of advice is get yourself a community. A community of like-minded women that understand what it is to feel the way you're feeling, to feel anxious, to feel overwhelmed, to feel vulnerable, to feel fragile. Having women around you that understand is so important. It helps you to know that you're not alone, and just that in itself is incredibly relieving. And in order to expand your mindset and change your belief system around feeling emotion and letting yourself release, the better it is to be around people that are doing it, because it will show you that it's possible to change. It'll show you that it's possible to shift your anxiety. It will show you that it's possible to do things a little bit differently. Creating community that is like-minded and open to vulnerability has been one of the most meaningful, fulfilling things in my life. And that's because I feel like we're revolutionizing the way we look at mental health and anxiety. We're changing the narrative around it. We're teaching each other by sharing and co-creating how safe it actually is to feel the emotion that we feel. And to know that beyond that space of anxiety, beyond the anxiety you feel, is an incredible amount of potential. And not just potential in your regular measures of success, potential in your energy, potential in how you hold yourself, potential in your confidence, potential in how you attract and manifest the things you want in your life. Everything opens up once you give yourself permission to feel. And so, yes, of course, what I'm suggesting is going to help you to relieve anxiety, but it will give you so much more than that. It will give you a taste at true, authentic self-connection. It will help you to recalibrate your thinking on every level about what you're experiencing right now. It will shift your perspective around what you're experiencing right now. If you're looking for more resources to help you in learning how to release emotions and anxiety, I have a free training that you can access anytime below that will help you with understanding more about the work that I do and what I offer in my community space. I hope that this anxiety relief advice has helped you to know that there's a different way that you can approach this and that you can actually move through it. I see so many women giving up, feeling like there's not a way through for them. And I want you to know there is. You can so do this. You can trust in your body. You can trust in your emotions. As long as you prioritize yourself, you will get there. And so start today by prioritizing your emotional needs. Give yourself a little bit of space. Maybe go and buy the book on Burnout from Emily and Amelia Nagoski and start the process of helping yourself to move through what you're feeling. And if you'd like some help to move through this and you'd like a community to help you to move through it and to believe that it's possible to do so, then I definitely recommend going and booking a free of charge discovery call with me. Our program is called the Transform You program. The intake is open and you're so very welcome to book in a call. If you liked this video, you might also like these videos, and remember to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell to get notified of new videos as they arrive every Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope this hit your heart, and remember to share it with your friends and comment below so that we can share this information with more and more women that could possibly need it right now.